Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Dell Boomi Training Demo Sessions. I am the trainer for this Dell Boomi in the MindMajix. We'll go to about the trainer, right? I have 13 years of experience in integrations domain, especially in the middleware, and out of which 5 years I have served in the Boomi, and a couple of certifications also I have completed, which I have mentioned over here. The qualifications for this Dell Boomi. So first one is like Atmosphere Process Level 1, Integrations Developer 2, that is called the Boomi certifications, Bootcamp Advanced Training Certificate, Dell Boomi Professional Developer and Professional Architect. So these are the couple of certifications which is associated with me. Regarding the scope of demos, what are the going to talk about on this demo is like where Boomi fit in the integrations, what is the scope for this one, and what is the current trend for this Dell Boomi in the market. So before going that, we will go a little bit about the intro of that this Dell Boomi. So Boomi basically is a middleware software tool which is used to integrate more than two systems or the two systems. We know, right, that two systems, they are incompatible with each other, and in that we need the middleware. So middleware can be anything, any product, whether it's a Boomi, MuleSoft, or SnapLogic, anything. But we'll concentrate more on the Boomi, as Boomi is good in the market. The Boomi platform is on the cloud. So what cloud means is, so cloud means like you can access any platform from anywhere over the browser. You don't have to install that software on your systems, and you don't have to do the maintenance activity and all. Simply you have to go to the browser, type the platform name, and then give your username, password, and you would be able to access that one. Now few important things about the Boomi. It's a tool where you have to drag and drop the UIs, and you have to connect it the UIs and configure it to make your integrations. It's not a coding platforms where you are going to write the languages in some languages. It's not like that. It's a tool where shapes component has been given that we have to use and make a integrations or processes. Second thing is that why tool is important. What is the reason for the tool? See, everything we can do it in the languages, but the importance of tool is you can do the things in a faster way rather than writing a lengthy code, right? The GUI shapes has been made, just you have to configure it. So while doing that, what it will happen is the time taken to develop the processes or the integrations is very less, rather than we'll go for a traditional method for the uh, coding one. So here a lot of things you can do it, like reusability. Once you can make the logic, you can reuse that logic to the other process as well if that fit it. You have to check whatever the logic has been built is as per the expectations or not. But yeah, reusability concept is there where you can reuse. To make the thing faster, Boomi has given some libraries, templates, or custom script to balance your productivity and the control, allowing your organizations to be successful connected with any business use cases. What it means? It means is ready-made stuff Boomi has been given, provided to you in the process library, where we can go and explore that ready-made template and we can use it. So that one of the features Boomi has given about that one. Course content outlined. What are the things we are going to discuss about this in our course? So this is the slides where I have mentioned few of the topics. This is just a few of the topics which we are covering in our training sessions. First one is like document flow error handling, right? Then it's a process building using all safe testing and the deployment, web services, high volume data, and the best practices. So document flow and error handling. In that, we are going to discuss how the documents flows. Okay. And when document flows, let's say, for example, 10 documents is flowing. Out of that 10 documents, from one node to another node. It means from one shapes to the another shapes, how that documents flow. And out of 10 documents, if there is some kind of error, what is going to happen with the next document, and what is going to happen with the um, document that is having the error, right? So that all things we are discussing in document flow and error handling. How we are going to capture the error, how we are going to send the error over the email, right? And to how we are going to do the notify alert mechanism, how you are going to test it if hundreds of datas are there, right? And if you want to test few record just to check it up whether my logic or process is working fine or not. For that we have a read data at each shape in the test mode, where you can put the message shapes of the Boomi, and then you have to put a simple message over there, and you can run the process and see where it's failing and what is happening. Now once that testing and all is done, then we have to develop a end-to-end design of the interfaces. So this end-to-end design of the interfaces means we have to take one SaaS scenarios on the cloud, where we are going to take up the data. Once we take up the data, what will happen, what transformations logic we are going to implement that one. So that using that will come under the process building using all steps, testing, and the deployment. In middleware, lot of transformations, since two systems are incompatible, what will happen, lot of transformations, a lot of business logic need to be used. That is called the map shape in the Boomi. Then we have to test it. Once the testing has been done, if then we have to go for the deployment. Deployment means you are going to execute your processes to some kind of runtime engine. In Boomi, that runtime engine is nothing called the atoms. It means whatever the process you have built, that is going to deploy it on the runtime engine. Once you deployed that one, then you have to do a process automation. Process automation means the process would be, rather than triggering it manually, the process would going to trigger it automatically. Manual intervention would not be there. So that is called the executions of the process. Here we can define at what interval the process we are going to execute it automatically. What is the interval? Let's say it's 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, once a week, twice a year, right? That kind of automations we can do it in the process deployment. And then analysis of process reporting logs. So once the process is running, executing based on the some schedulers, right? Then we have a facility to look into the logs as well. We have the facility to look into the document as well. What document is coming, what document is going out, right? For that document, what are the time taken by each shapes? That also we can define it in the process view processing state of the process reporting page. The next thing, so this all things comes under the process building using all self testing and the deployments. One important part about the Boomi is the web services. Till now, whatever we are discussing is about scheduled process. So scheduled process means what? The process would going to triggered at a particular interval of time. There is another approach as well, that is called the web services. Web services basically is an real-time scenario. It will not execute at particular interval of time. Whenever the source system will trigger the request to the Boomi, what will happen? The source system will invoke the Boomi services, and it will send the data to the Boomi, and whatever the logic could be applied in the processes where it will, then it will go to that particular systems. So at real time means it's not, as I said, it's not a scheduled, it's a whenever you need it, whenever the requirement is there. I'll give an example for real time. Take an example for like a simple example for bank account, right? Like RTGS we are doing and IMPS we are doing. So RTGS we have seen, right? We have done the amount transfer right now, but it's not getting credited automatically at that particular moment of time. It takes some time to credit to that account, maybe 1 hour, half an hour, or something like that it's taking. The reason being is that services RTGS is a scheduled process. Scheduled process means it will run at particular interval of time, and then your transactions should be credited. But IMPS is not like that. It's a web services. Whenever you transfer the amount, it will credit at that moment. So that is the difference between scheduled and the web services. Yeah. So these are the part of the Boomis. Next thing is that high volume of data. In integration, usually what happen is you have a middleware, you have a source and the target. So what is happening is, let's say if you have a more record, let's say 1 lakh, 2 lakhs or 3 lakhs of data you want to process it up. So that is considered as a high volume of data. If that data, that much data is there, then your process should be robust enough to handle that one. We know while designing the interfaces, unnecessary component right should not be there, because we know each shapes in the Boomi has its own turnover time, right, along with the data. So if 1 lakh of data is there, to process 1 lakh of data, along with that, the shapes, the time taken by the shapes, it will add it up. And we know lot of shapes we are using in the Boomi to do the transformations. If 10 shapes are there, then each 10 shape has its own kind of processing of the data. So while passing to the data to the next shape, first it will process in its own, and then it will evaluate it one by one, and then it will pass it to the next shape. So that is very important while handling the high volume of data. What you need to do is you need to utilize minimum shapes. You should not use unnecessary shape, because it will time will taken for that one. And the bad records should be rejected. The bad record, the record which is not meeting the criteria, that should be rejected at early step. It should not be go to the next steps. So these are the things we need to consider about the high volume data handling. Even though if high volume data handling, all this stuff has been done, sometime your RAM size is less, right? So RAM size should also be appropriate. It should not be like too less. If you are processing more than 2 lakhs of data, then your RAM size should be above 1 GB. If it's less, then it will not able to handle, and the process would be slow down, and it will going to throw an error. So that error is called out of memory exceptions error, and the RAM uses. So out of memory exceptions error means your RAM size, your memory get exhausted. You don't have sufficient memory to handle that data. For that, we have to look into the out of memory exceptions when we are going to get it. The RAM users, we should know how many data we should process, and accordingly, we have to choose the RAM size required for that one. So these are the few things which we are going to discuss like in the training sessions. Apart from that, few best practices are there which need to be also taken into considerations. So best practices like you should not use unnecessary components. Connector, you should not use the connector call inside the map, which will take more time. If you want to take the data, if you want to do the connector call, better to take the data in the cache and then do a lookup. Try to use the native features of the Boomi, cross-reference table, simple lookup. Don't try to write these scripts, because the script, what it will do is it will slow down your processes, because the script will execute line by line and it will slow down your processes. So these are the few best practices that we need to consider on that. We'll come to know more about on the best practices as like we'll go for the actual training class sessions on that. So this is the few examples in the Boomi, how it look like. Let's say for example, execute shapes. Under execute shapes we have a map. So how map will look like and what map is doing, right? So basically map is doing for the transformations. You have a source, you have a target, and you have a like no functions. So in source you are going to import the source profile, in the target you are going to import the target profile, and in between that you have a functions. So use map to transform data from one format to another, or more specifically from one profile to another. The map shape reference a predefined components, right? So this is basically used to do the transformations. As I said in the middleware, right? So what is happening is we are going to transform the data from one format to another. Why we need map? Take an example, your Salesforce, and take an example of your database. Salesforce expose their entities in the XML format and database accept or expose in the database profiles. Both are incompatible, right? So what will happen? You cannot directly insert the data from insert or update the data from Salesforce to the database. You require a middleware which will understand the Salesforce format, do the transformation and which will also understand the database profiles, right? So for that, middleware is there, and in that functionality can be achieved in the map set, right? So as you see over here, we have a map source profile, then functions, then we have a destinations profile. Accordingly, we have the implementations part as well. I mean, we are doing the functions. Some functions, if you want to write it, you can write it in the map functions. A lot of functions are there, right? Like simple lookup, I have told, cross reference, string functions, numeric functions, connector call, scripting, properties, right? All this you can see it once you log into the Boomi platform. Like assignments. Usually, when we'll finish our class, right, we will give some assignment that you need to work on, and then in the next class you need to come up. So assignment can be anything from the Boomi. It may be the coming topics which we are going to discuss, or maybe whatever we have discussed, right? So mostly whatever we have discussed, that only is going to be the assignment. So you have to go and look into that one, read more on that one, and come up with the queries, whatever the queries and all, and then we are going to discuss it. Some practical things also need to be done, right, for the assignment. Documentations, lot of documentations are there, even though I'm going to provide the documentations, and I'm also going to show on the browser where you'll get the documentation. Some useful links is also there, which like you can go to log into the Boomi, and there is something called browse user guide. So what will happen is, if you go to browse user guide, all your topic you can search over there, right? Will help you out on the sample preparations of the sample resume as well, and guidance on the resume preparations as well we will provide you. What kind of projects we are going to do it up in our sessions, right? So one project we will take the Saas applications, right? So we know about the Salesforce, NetSuite, Salesforce, right? It's a Salesforce or the NetSuite, it's a Saas applications, right? So we'll take an example of Saas applications. We'll try to query the data from that applications. We'll try to do the transformations. We'll try to update, insert the data into the target systems. The system requirement would be, you need to create an account in the Salesforce, you need to create account in the Boomi, and need a system, your laptop or desktop, whatever, having the 4 GB of RAM size. So these are the one project which we are going to discuss, and this is on the cloud based projects. The second thing is the web services call we are going to discuss, right? So web services, I have explained a brief idea about what web services is, when we require that web services, right? So that also we can do it about. For that, system requirement is, we need to have SOAP UI, Postman, Boomi account, and the system with a 4 GB of RAM size. So these are the two things which we are going to discuss. Apart from that, other stuffs are also there with respect to an architect point of view, that also we are going to discuss it about. And the system requirement, right? So prerequisite as of now, right? For lab setup, we don't have any prerequisite kind of. Only thing is that you need to have internet access, right? Internet connectivity, because all the things are on the cloud. So just you have to create the account. So we will show you in the our training class where how you are going to create the accounts. So once you create the account, the way we are login to the Gmail, right? How we are doing the Gmail? Just we are writing the gmail.com. The same way we have to write the on the browser, like platform.boomi.com. So if you type platform.boomi.com, it will take you to the page where you have to give username passwords, right? And then you have to give the username password, and it will take you to the Boomi platforms, and there you have to go to the integrations. Second is for the Salesforce, right? So Salesforce account creations is also simple. It's on cloud, no installations, nothing is required. You can create the free account, free trial account, right? And that trial account, the same way you can create it. You just give the detail, fill your username, password, email ID, right? And it will send an email to your account with the link to verify your account. Verify that one, and it will take you to the Salesforce page. So UI installations is also simple. You have to go to the user, and you can download whatever the SOAP UI. It's a readily free tools. Whatever we are discussing, the tools, right, like Boomi, Salesforce, SOAP UI, right? These all are available on the internet. You can go ahead and create it. So SOAP UI Postman installations is also simple. You have to go to either the SOAP UI platform or Postman platform. From there, you can do the download of whatever the version you want to write. Atom installations, definitely I'm going to tell you on that, how you are going to install the Atom. Boomi environment setup, definitely I'm going to do that one. I'm going to tell you how we are going to set up the environment. Atom installations and Boomi environment setup, it will come once you set up the Boomi account. EIA pattern that you have to go to the browser, it's not mandatory, right? It's just for your reference at the back end. You have to go to the eiapattern.com where you are going to read about the integrations, what are the people's terms they are using in integrations domain. Regarding the interview questions, in my class, definitely I'm going to give how you are going to do the preparations. Preparations is really simple, just you need to follow the logic, right, by step by steps. Apart from that, I'm going to give you some top queries which usually interviewer ask, right? So that also I'm going to help on that one. Certifications, we can do it in certifications. The link I have given over there, the certification to do it, and it's administration and what are the certificates are there. You follow that link, you'll refer that one. Some of them are like administrations one, associated integrations, and the developer. If you go to that link, you would be able to know what kind of certifications Boomi provide. All the certifications are listed over there, so accordingly you can choose it. Usually there is a segregations, right? So developer one, I mean the development side, admin side, pre-sale side, right, EDI, all the things. You'll go to that certificate, you would be able to know about that one. After completions of course, definitely you people will get the certificate of achievement, right, that this course you have completed from our training institute. That's what from my side. Thanks for attending the demos, and we have left us our email ID and the contact number. Anything, any part, any query is there, so let us know. We'll get in touch with you. Thank you. Thanks everyone.